I sold my baby bicycle camper, and it was the most bizarre financial transaction you've ever heard of. Stay tuned and I'll tell you all about it. This is the camper that I'm talking about, the one that's small when on the road and expands like a transformer toy when I reach my campsite. My baby was born in my dining room in 2018 after 2 years of thinking, tinkering, lost sleep, and trial and error. If you've been following my channel, you've seen her in the construction phase and in numerous videos about the trips I've taken with her. When she's folded down to travel mode, she's tiny, only 24 inches wide, 19 inches high, and 65 inches long. Yet in camping mode, she expands to 84 cubic feet of living space and provides me with a flat, even surface for my bed and plenty of room for storing everything I need and things I don't need. Another feature I liked about her was the fact that she's so easy to tow. No matter how strong the wind from the side, she tracks straight as an arrow, and she's quite maneuverable in tight corners. With the side entrance doorway, it's easy for an old geezer like me to get in and out of. On days of heavy rain, I could place my chair inside and either relax and read or work on my laptop. When I arrived at my campsite, it took only 5 minutes to set her up, and I had lots of room for storing my chair, panniers, and all my gear. What's the problem then? Now I'm approaching 83, and I'm facing the reality of living inside an old, tired body. The problem I was having with my lovely little camper, and this was a non-issue when I was younger, was the time and effort it took me to put away all my gear in the morning before leaving for another day on the road. It meant putting away the food, stove, pots and pans, dishes, utensils, water carrier, and garbage, my sleeping bag, liner, air mattress pump, pillow, clothing, medication, headlamp, CPAP machine with its power supply, breathing tube and mask, my medications and toiletries like shaver and toothbrushes, plus the towel that hadn't yet had time to dry, my laptop and its power supply, USB cables, mouse, external drive and external microphone, power supplies for my cameras, batteries, light and phone. Then placing my tools, water bottles, camera, tripod and accessories into my bicycle panniers, and finally unplugging my 40-foot extension cord and rolling it up and then folding the camper back to travel mode and hitching it to the bike. By the time I had done all that, an hour and a half had gone by and I was already exhausted. Last summer I made my last trip with my little camper. It was only an overnight trip, but I was so exhausted at the end of the trip that I then decided that I'm too old for that kind of bicycle travel. I published a video about my last trip, and there's a link to it in the description in case you're interested. Then I got an email from one of my followers, Dennis Frank from Pennsylvania. Dennis was the first person to receive the plans for building the camper 3 years ago, but he never found the time to build one. He had often left comments about my videos, so I was getting to know him. He was letting me know that if ever I wanted to sell my little camper, that he'd be interested in buying her. It was too soon for me to make that decision, so I put her in storage for the winter, not wanting to make a decision that I might regret. This year, during the summer of 2024, every time I thought about my nice little camper, I was reminded that I didn't have the energy to take her out for a trip. By the end of July, I had made my decision to sell her. So I contacted Dennis, and then negotiations began. I mentioned to Dennis how much I was asking for her. When he wrote back, he said that I wasn't asking enough, and that he had a budget for twice that amount, and he said that even that much wasn't a lot for all the planning, construction time, and testing I had done. I answered back that my price was firm and non-negotiable, and I explained it this way. I don't expect you or anyone else, for that matter, to foot the bill for my time and effort. I never undertook that project to make money. The time and work I put into it were part of the creative process and the fun. We had a deal. Then Dennis drove to Gatineau to pick up the camper. He spent some time examining the camper and trying it out. When the time came to pony up, he took out a wad of $100 bills and started counting, placing them one by one on the table. When he reached the asking price, he said that he had taken into account the inflation factor and counted some more bills, adding an extra 50%. That's what I call driving a hard bargain. Selling my baby could be reason enough to go into a depression, but I have two reasons to stay optimistic. First, Dennis is a fine gentleman, and I'm sure he'll take very good care of my baby. As soon as he arrived home after his 8-hour drive, he set her up in his backyard and sent me a picture of her. She looks quite at home there in beautiful Pennsylvania, don't you think? Second, I have an exciting project in mind that's going to make up for my loss. Let me explain. What I need to allow me to continue traveling with my e-bike is the convenience of an RV, a recreational vehicle. But an RV is too large, can't go on bicycle trails, and is simply too fast to allow me to enjoy the scenery. However, the feature of an RV that I need because of my declining health is the ability to have a place for everything staying in its place, and not having to spend a lot of time putting everything away before starting another day of travel. What I need, then, is the equivalent of an RV that I can tow with my electric bike. And I think I can build one. I'm working on an idea that would result in a collapsible bicycle camper that would provide me with everything that I would need. Stand-up headrooms I wouldn't have to crouch. A flip-down bed that's always made and ready to flop into. A kitchen area at one end with storage spaces for all my utensils and cookware, and at the other end a flip-up table that can double as a desk. Plenty of built-in storage space, and everything that uses electricity would be wired in. It would be easy to set up in less than a minute. In order to save weight, it wouldn't have a nice box, running water, television set, and a shower. Those modern luxuries don't save a lot of time, so I can manage without them. It would be considerably bigger than my baby, but it could be made to weigh under 85 pounds. This project will keep me motivated. It's going to help me overcome the difficulties of being old, and is going to give me a lot to look forward to. It's going to be a lot of fun building this project, even if I never get to use it, considering the health issues I've been having. I really appreciate all the support you've given me since I created my YouTube channel in 2017. If you want to continue helping this channel, you could do the usual. Leave a thumbs up, write a comment, share, and if you haven't already done so, thank you for having watched, and remember, never quit cycling.